Hey everyone, welcome again to the Lions Club Candidates Night. Thank all of you for being here this evening. As always, I'd like to start the evening with the Pledge of Allegiance, so if everyone could please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. For those of you who were here last year, I had mentioned last year was going to be my final year. I lied. Back again this year, but that's okay. It's a good group. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. And for those of you who, and for those of you who emailed me thanking me, I appreciate that also. Very, very kind of all of you. So, and yes, I do have a joke for this year, which we'll talk about later on. So, as always, with Candidates Night, like I said, thank you for everyone for being here this evening. How we do the Candidates Night is Town Hall gave me a list of how everyone's name appears on the ballot. And that's how I'll be calling the candidates up. Each candidate will have up to 4 minutes to speak. And again, if there's any questions for the candidate, please hold all questions to the end of the evening. And if the candidates would like to stay and meet with individuals, that's fine. We also have a new timekeeper this year. This young gentleman sitting right here, a great volunteer with the Goffstown Lions Club, my grandson Hunter. So. Thank you for doing this. Hunter has the official sign, so just watch for those. And, yep, hold those up. There we go. Okay. See? Hunter trained 3 weeks for this, so, excellent. He's really good. So, but anyway. So also, before we start, I'd like to thank the Goffstown Public Library and for getting the brochures together once again. Thank you very much, the pamphlets with all the information if you have any questions. I'll say this right now, Patty Pennick is, she is the incoming new library director. And I've already worked with Patty on a project we'll be talking about shortly. Does a great job, so it will be a lot of fun working with her also on this. So. All right, all the candidates have come up here. So what we'll do, we'll be starting with the Select Board. And the first candidate, Allison DeCesere.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. As always, thank you to the library and the Lions Club for putting this on. This is always a great event, and it's nice to see so many familiar faces. My name is Allison DeCesere, and I am running for Select Board. Some of you may know me from Budget Committee. I've been serving on that committee for the last 3 years, and some of you don't know me at all. So let me just tell you a little bit about myself. I am the mom of 2 wonderful young boys who attend Mountain View Middle School. They are 12 and 13, so they keep me very busy. I have an incredibly supportive husband at home, which allows me to be able to step away from that family life and give back to this community. So I'm very grateful for that. Not everybody has that. I'm the daughter and full-time caregiver to my 79-year-old mother who has dementia. She's lived with us for about the last 1.5 years, so that also keeps me very busy. I'm a business owner. For more than 20 years now, I've worked for myself providing bookkeeping services to individuals and small businesses. So finance is what I do all day, every day. I've actually been called a big spender on the Budget Committee, but that seems like a funny fact to me because I went through and tallied it up, and this past budget season, I supported and voted for more than $2 million in town budget cuts and $500,000 for the school board. But most importantly for this evening, I'm a woman who loves this town, and like you, I want to uphold its character and integrity. I chose to live in Goffstown for that feeling, for that small town, for the neighbors, for the good schools, just like many of you. These are tough times, and these are tough positions that we're running for. The decisions that we make impact everybody's lives, and often they don't make everybody happy. I regularly hear from people who say, we just need to lower taxes. I know there are many people struggling, and I don't think that there's a single one of us that are running for office that just are happy to see their tax bill. But that's not all there is to it. In the past 3 years, I've learned that there's a delicate balance between the services that we've all come to expect and the costs that we have to incur to provide those. If I'm chosen to represent you as a select board member, I'll use my financial knowledge, my budget experience, and my compassion for my neighbors to make the best decisions I can for Goffstown. I truly believe if your only platform is cutting taxes, then you don't understand this job. And I kindly ask for your vote. Thank you.
Okay. Is Brian Belanger here? Okay. Next up is the Budget Committee, and first is Joe Spoerl.
Thank you very much. Thank you to the Lions Club and the library for all the work you've done in helping to inform voters in our town. So my name is Joe Spoerl. My wife Kelly and I have been homeowners in Goffstown and residents of Goffstown since 1991. We've owned 2 homes. We're on our current home we purchased in 1998. Our assessed valuation is just a hair above the median, and our property taxes are up to about $9,000. So I understand how painful it is to pay those tax bills. I was on the faculty at St. Anselm College from 1990 to 2024. I retired in 2024, and so I have a bit more time on my hands to devote to volunteering and public service. I did serve once before on the Budget Committee from 2011 to 2015. And that was a very, very informative experience for me. I learned so much in those 4 years. I became very, very busy at work right around 2015, so I didn't run for re-election. And probably the most important thing I learned was that it was actually very beneficial to have viewpoint diversity on the Budget Committee. There were fiscal conservatives, very smart, very sharp. There were some people of a more liberal orientation, also very smart and very sharp. And I learned so much by listening to the arguments on both sides, pro and con, of all the spending proposals that we vetted on that committee. I think each side has important insights to bring, and it's really important for us to listen carefully to each other and, of course, to always speak respectfully to each other. So, and we still have those same divisions in our town today. I think it's just a perennial thing. That's the way it is. I do, as a Budget Committee member, if I were to be elected, it would be important for me to preserve and fund adequately existing town services and facilities. I say adequately, not richly or lavishly. The Budget Committee, I think, has tried in the last couple of years. We might debate how well they've succeeded, but they've tried to keep the proposed budget as close to the default budget as possible, to keep that gap between the two narrow, after carefully looking at the priorities facing the town, picking a few top priorities and letting go of the rest. I think that's a reasonable approach. I think inducing our neighbors to vote for a budget means keeping that gap between the default and the proposed budget as narrow as we can. And that way we can fund key things, keep our services going, and chip away at the major infrastructure challenges that we do face as a town. So that's why I'm running for the Budget Committee. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Before I forget, if everyone, if you're not sure, if you could check your phones just to make sure they're on silent. Okay, next up is Jessica Peutin.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Peutin. I'm running for Budget Committee. Yes, Peutin, not Putin. Don't worry, the only thing I'm invading is the budget. I know, no one wakes up and says, you know what I'm going to do tonight? Fiscal oversight. But you know what really gets your heart racing? Opening your property tax bill. I'm a homeowner. I feel the stress and the worry, and I'm a mom of a 7th grader way back there. Thank you for coming back from the boys. Let me tell you, budgeting with kids in sports, every season, new fees and fundraising, and every time wondering if her feet really grew or if she's trying to bankrupt me. In my home, we ask a lot of questions. Do we need it or want it? Can we afford it now, or should we plan and save? Is there a better way? Use sporting goods store, price shopping, quotes. Professionally, I manage large budgets and union crews. Pressure, try explaining spending decisions to field guys. I can't say trust the process. They want to know why. They would look at me like, explain, woman. And I love that, because accountability isn't disrespect, it's responsibility. I'm not running to slash everything. I know we can do better. We need good schools, safe roads, police, and fire. I like living in a town where things work. I also want to be able to afford to stay here. Because what's our current plan? Raise taxes until it's just deer and hedge fund managers left? That's not a community. That's a nature preserve with Wi-Fi. I'm running because budgets shouldn't feel mysterious or intimidating. They should make sense, and if they don't, we ask why. We plan for big ticket items and spreading the cost over years. We communicate clearly and respect the taxpayers who fund it all. So here's my promise. I will read the fine print, ask tough questions, and treat your tax dollars the way I do at home and work, carefully, seriously, and transparently. And no, if I can manage 5 different union contracts and crews at a heavily regulated industry, plus middle school SAS every day, I can handle speaking up for you. You, the hardworking families, the seniors on fixed incomes, homeowners and renters who just want fairness and clarity. This town works because you work. Now it's time the budget works for you. March 10th, your vote is your voice. Vote for Peutin.
Thank you, Jessica. Up next is Brian Mazur.
All right, good evening, friends and neighbors. My name is Brian Mazur, and I'm proud to serve you on the Goffstown Budget Committee. And tonight, I'm asking for your vote to continue the careful, disciplined work of protecting every single dollar in this town. Serving on the committee is not about headlines or politics, it's about stewardship. In Goffstown, we are not managing government money, we are managing your money. Money earned in long days at work, money earned by small business owners, money earned in job sites and in offices across the community. Every dollar we approve represents someone's time, effort, and sacrifice. That perspective shapes every vote I cast. Now, the last thing any family needs is to feel pushed out of the town they love because property taxes are climbing. Goffstown must remain a place where families can move in, where seniors can afford to stay, and where working people are not taxed out of their homes. Monetary responsibility is not about saying no to everything. It's about asking tough questions, demanding more transparency, and ensuring accountability. Over the past term, I have worked to carefully evaluate every line item, identify unearned expenditures, and question assumptions respectfully and constructively. A healthy town is not measured by how much it spends, but by how wisely it spends. When we budget carefully, we protect more than numbers on a spreadsheet. We protect retirees on fixed incomes. We protect generational homes. We protect small business owners working to grow. And most importantly, we protect what truly makes Goffstown strong. And it's not a building, it's not a program, it's not a budget line, it's the people who live here. I'm running for re-election because now is not the time to ease up on scrutiny or assume increases are inevitable. It is time for more thoughtful analysis and disciplined governance. I will continue to serve in humility, remembering that this responsibility comes directly from all of you. So I respectfully ask for your vote on March 10th so I can continue this important work. Thank you, and God bless Goffstown.
Thank you, Brian. Next up is Olivia Welch-Erdahl.
I'm shorter than Brian. My name's Olivia Welch-Erdahl, and I'm running for my second term on Goffstown's Budget Committee. I'm a lifelong resident of Goffstown. I attended Goffstown schools, specifically Maple Ave, Mountain View, and Goffstown High School. My children, in turn, attended Glen Lake and Bartlett prior to our family's choice to begin homeschooling prior to COVID in 2019. I've consistently supported our public schools while home educating and serving on the Budget Committee, making informed and thoughtful choices when voting for board members in our local elections. I believe that it's the family's right to choose how we educate our children, but it is also the entire community's responsibility to support our public school system, providing all children with quality education by supported administrators and educators in a safe environment. As a returning member of the Budget Committee, I will continue making recommendations on how to best balance the wants and needs of Goffstown's department heads and infrastructure with those of our residents. The 3 years I have served have proven to be 3 of the most difficult for Goffstown residents in recent memory. Families are struggling to balance rising taxes, utilities, food, and material costs with many other costs associated with running a household. Our families' needs, regardless of whether they live in Grasmere, the Village, or Pinardville, must be recognized, understood, and respected, while simultaneously communicating with our departments the need for maintained roads, schools, and services. Openly communicating with town departments as a nonpartisan elected member of our committee has enabled me to make informed and research-based recommendations within the Budget Committee. This accurate and respectful fact-sharing and discussion has helped the Budget Committee keep taxpayer impact a priority while continuing to value our departments and their staff. Our committee has worked incredibly hard to lower budgets all 3 years I have served. We have worked diligently through the fall and holiday seasons each year alongside department heads and administrators to bring the people of Goffstown a budget that is not only passable but practical. It will be a continued struggle as we move forward, especially as many projects that have been deferred for multiple years become more pressing. It is vital that we have determined, experienced members focused on innovative and open thinking to solve these problems. Thank you for your time tonight, and please consider voting for me March 10th.
Thank you, Olivia. Next up is Christine Templeton.
Good evening, Goffstown. My name is Christine Templeton. Like many of you, I remember when Goffstown felt like a place where your hard-earned dollars stretched as far as your kids could ride their bikes. Today, many families are asking a different question: how much more can we afford? This conversation is not just about the school budget, it's about the entire town budget, schools, town services, infrastructure, public safety, and whether or not we are managing growth responsibly. Since 2017, education spending has risen significantly. At the same time, many residents feel they are paying for more but are not seeing proportional results. That deserves scrutiny, not blame, not politics, but responsible oversight. The same standard must apply to town spending, whether it's staffing levels, capital projects, contracts, or administrative costs. We should be asking the same questions across the board. Are we operating efficiently? Are we measuring outcomes? Are we reorganizing when necessary? Or are we simply defaulting to annual increases? Special education is one area that requires transparency, both financially and programmatically. If 20% of our students are classified as special needs, compared to lower percentages in neighboring towns, we owe it to taxpayers and families to understand why. Not to reduce support, but to ensure it's structured effectively, producing progress, and not trapping students in systems without measurable outcomes. Professionally, I am a senior business systems analyst for the world's largest staffing firm. In my world, we do not automatically approve budget increases. We examine workflows. We eliminate redundancies. We modernize systems. We realign roles to meet today's needs, not yesterday's structures. That is what a budget committee should do for both town and school, not act as a rubber stamp, not pick sides, but serve as watchdogs for taxpayers. In a time of record inflation and rising property taxes, the assumption that taxes must go up every year is not sustainable. Families are making hard decisions at their kitchen tables. Government should be doing the same. I am a mother, a small business owner, and a taxpayer. I am not running to say no to everything. I'm running to ask better questions, demand transparency, and insist on accountability across the entire budget. Goffstown can remain a strong community with excellent schools and essential town services, but that requires disciplined financial stewardship. My name is Christine Templeton, and I respectfully ask for your vote for Budget Committee so we can bring balance, oversight, and accountability to our town's finances. Thank you.
Thank you, Christine. Laura Stevens could not be here this evening. She did email me. She's feeling under the weather. So next up on the list is Craig Stansfield.
We should have done this like tallest to shortest or something. All right, good evening. My name's Craig Stansfield, and I'm running for Budget Committee. You should all have a copy of my bio in your handout, so I'm going to give you guys about 4 minutes to read that. All right, so I do want to highlight what's important to me. Most important to me is my family and service to our country and our community and keeping it safe and protected. I've run for Budget Committee twice before this, and I consider sitting this one out. Being a candidate takes a lot of work. You spend time away from your family at events like this, campaigning. Also, you spend a lot of time on Facebook defending against the 5 people in town who live on Facebook. You know who you are. So I'm running because I feel like affordability is slipping away from our community. My taxes have doubled in the last 7 years that I've been here, and there's no additional services or results. But I'm not talking about cutting. I'm talking about spending more efficiently, which I know we can do. Each year, candidates emerge for the local elections. First of the candidates like myself, I consider myself fiscally conservative and fiscally responsible. We're the ones committed to keeping Goffstown. We want to use our real-world experience to address the unsustainable increases in our budgets and keep them in check. In short, we're going to restrain spending. The second group seems like they run to protect spending. Their hearts might be in the right place, but their actions have brought us to where we are today, facing another steep tax increase. They've tried to spend our way to more efficient government and higher test scores, but it hasn't worked. What am I offering? I'm offering experience, accountability, and practicality. I have over 18 years running a federal multi-million-dollar budget. My department's underfunded and understaffed. It forces us to be more efficient and more precise with planning and budgeting. Doing more with less is a way of life for me, and I think it can be for the town of Goffstown as well. As a federal budget program manager, there are financial consequences to my actions. Loss of accountability can be collected directly from my paycheck. So it's made me methodical and deliberate when dealing with taxpayer money. I'm also practical. Serving 23 years in the military has given me a strategic outlook on life and the ability to see the bigger picture. I know that when it comes to town and school funding, emotions run high, and a lot of time logic often leaves the room. I have decades of experience working in stressful environments and solving complex problems. I've learned the value of collaboration, and I understand the seldom a one-size-fits-all solution. If elected, I'll put my experience to work to keep Goffstown affordable without sacrificing the quality of life and the school education we currently enjoy. Thank you for your time. Please vote on March 10th.
Thank you, Craig. Next up is Blaine Hanson.
Boy, that's a little short. Good evening, everybody. I'm Blaine Hanson. I am a 7-year now Goffstown resident, and I am running for Budget Committee. The reason I'm running now is I think I've been in town long enough to see what goes on here and what the divisions are. And right now, like the rest of the world, our town is kind of split in half, and people have dug in. I would like to be the person who can possibly bridge that gap. I think everybody that's running for Budget Committee would like to save as much taxpayer money as possible. None of us like paying high property taxes. As Craig said earlier, my taxes have almost doubled in the last 7 years. It's a lot. I think we need to scrutinize every line item. If we can find inefficiencies, they should be removed. If stuff has to be cut, it has to be cut. The world is getting ever more expensive. Inflation is still here. Cost of living in southern New Hampshire is growing exponentially, and we have to pay for it somehow. We have town services that we have to pay for. We have to fund a school. We have to pay the folks that plow our snow, pick up our trash. We have to pay our teachers, and it's expensive. And there's no easy way around it. We have to look at the budget every time it comes around and find out what we can not spend more money on and what we possibly do have to spend money on if it's necessary. But I think we need to look further into the future. I know we have some capital expenditures coming up that are going to be quite costly. And I think if we do have money left over at the end of the budget cycle, it would be nice if we all got money back every year. But I think we also need to establish a little more capital reserve funding. We have a fire truck that's going to need to be replaced in 2030. We need a new trash truck. Plow trucks get beat to crap on our town's roads because they need to be paved. Just a DPW F-250 with a sander in the back and a plow on the front, you're looking at $120,000, $130,000, and I'm sure the town owns more than 10 of them. So everything's expensive, and it's incumbent upon everybody on the Budget Committee to leave their partisan beliefs behind and do what's best for the citizens of this town. And I ask you for your vote on March 10th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Blaine. Next up, the cemetery trustee is Linda Reynolds Naughton.
I'm not that tall. How do we, down here. Yeah, there we go. Hello, everybody. My name is Linda Reynolds Naughton, and I'm running for a 3-year term as cemetery trustee. I've actually been serving as a trustee since 2003. I've been a resident since 1979, and I've worked for the Goffstown Village Precinct since 1989. My 4 children are all off on their own now, but they all received a great education here. In the 23 years that I've been a trustee, we have made many improvements, some which were major. The crypt at at the West Lawn was very old, like 1890s, and was taking on water all the time, so it was not appropriate to be putting caskets in it. And we started planning to put a new crypt, which was put across the street. It was then called Cemetery Field, and the kids played softball there. And then we hired engineers and all to plan the new extension across the street from the original West Lawn. And while we did all that, we also brought in flags on the flagpoles at all the cemeteries. There is not much left to do at West Lawn Extension except for 2 more columbariums, so those tall things you see that have little doors on them. Instead of being buried in the ground, you go in this little compartment. As far as Shirley Hill is concerned, we have done the final extension up there. We've added approximately another new plots, and the DPW director was fortunate enough to find us a grant, and we put in the new fencing that had to go around it. Right now, we're in the process of applying to the court to, it's called a cypre petition. There are approximately $400,000 in trust funds that are unidentified. The reason they're unidentified is because they were lost in the fire in 1939 or 38, whichever it was. And previous attempts have not gone very far, but this time we've got the money that was set aside last year to pay for the town attorney, and we're going to go forward to see if we can get a hold of the interest off of those accounts to do some more major improvements without it costing the town anything. There's some fencing that needs to be repaired and whatnot. So this year, we're looking at a new lawnmower and a new piece of equipment, and it's a jack system to upright all the old stones that are starting to fall over. Now that all the expansion is done, we want to go forward with preserving what is antique and old and needs to be respected. All of our things now are all online, the maps for all the cemeteries. Every single person that's buried is online in alphabetical order by cemetery. And we just want to, my personal view of the whole thing is to keep it a wonderful, serene, respected place that people can go and visit their loved ones. And that's it. And I hope to get your vote, and I want to thank the Lions Club and the library for hosting this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. Next up for library trustees, Jessica Caron.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much to the library, to the Goffstown Lions Club and GTV for making this happen tonight, but especially thank you to everyone who's here and who's watching, because when I think about and I hear about everything everyone wants to do about the town, None of this would happen if it wasn't all of us being dedicated to make these decisions that are really hard and take time. So just thank you to everyone for being involved in this. A little bit about me, I'm Jessica Caron, and I'm running for library trustee. My husband and I moved to this town in 2010. Happy accident, just loved the house, and realized we really loved the town. Loved the downtown, we loved the main street, we loved going to Sawyer's for breakfast, Parks and Rec Department, you name it, and that's just what we did this past weekend. But one of the earliest resources that we came upon in this town was the library. When I was a young mom at home with the kids, this allowed me to connect with other mothers. It allowed me to introduce my young kids to other small kids within the town. And it was actually one of the first places that I was ever recognized by Miss Patty. She said, "Hello, Jessica," and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm a part of the town now. So it's an incredibly important resource, but not just for children. It's an amazing resource for adults too. When I was going back for my master's degree in a very chaotic household and busy household, and it was loud, I could go there and it was a quiet space with a lot of opportunity to spend time with others who were doing something similar. So it's a real gem in Goffstown. One of the plans is to continue providing services to all members of the community, and the Goffstown Library takes that seriously. In fact, just last month, they released their strategic plan for the next 3 years, which has a lot of amazing ideas to continue to bring great services to the town, but it also highlights a few concerns or challenges that the town is aware of. There are issues related to the size of the building, parking can be challenging. In fact, I've heard from some people that the limits to how much they can download digitally is even a problem. So like everyone here today talking about some of the constraints, the library faces some of those things too, but they have a plan to address some of those. So a little bit about me and why I want to be involved in that plan. I am someone who has been very mission-driven in my career. I spent over a decade with the Moore Center, a human services agency here in Manchester. And while I held a number of roles, my biggest role that I took on was really the problem solver, idea generator, process improver, and all around do more with less kind of gal. In fact, one of the things that I took on during COVID was running a vaccine clinic in partnership with the Department of Health and Human Services to ensure that vulnerable individuals were able to access that vaccine when they needed it. I also worked with the Elliott Hospital as part of the team to track clinical performance and measure outcomes and bring those outcomes actually to light. So you could say that I'm a bit of a strategic thinker in how I spend my time. But in my volunteer days, I've also spent some time with a couple different boards, including Goffstown Junior Baseball and Mary Lou Community Preschool, if you're familiar with it, where my kids went when they were much younger. But I also spend some time with my volunteer work connecting with individuals who experience chronic illnesses and conditions to help make sure that their voice is heard. So I'm no stranger to making sure that people are advocating for themselves and speaking up about their needs. I think when you take those two things and you put them together, strategic thinker who's very outcomes focused, but also very dedicated to thinking about the individual, what their wants and needs are, and making sure that they match. Pair that with the love for my community that my family deeply shares. I think you have someone who's very ready and able to carry out the needs that the library is facing. So thank you so much for hearing me out, and I look forward to your vote on March 10th.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. At this point, I wanted to address Patty, who I'll be calling up here momentarily. Last spring, the great thing about being in the Lions Club, you get to work with a lot of different people in Goffstown, a lot of different entities, and it's amazing what people want to do for the community. And, Patty, and I'm also going to mention Diane was involved with this. I approached Patty and Diane about working with the library on something a little different. It had to do with Braille and also with site issues, limited site. Because the Lions Club, that's one of the things we do. is anything involved with site. So I spoke with Patty and Diane about some ideas, and they said, okay, we'll do the research. And a couple months later, they got back to me, they emailed me with what their research had turned up. I was very impressed what they came up with regarding different Braille programs and other sight-impaired developmental aids and things like that that can be used. And this involves audio books, colorblind glasses. When we think of sight issues, a lot of times you don't think of color blindness, but I actually looked into it also, and there are some real issues for people who are truly colorblind that we don't realize. Also, a developmental toy kit for Braille children who need Braille or sight impaired, as well as the jumbo handheld print magnifier. And again, Patty and Diane did some great research. So when they got back to me with all their research, their suggestions, what the library could use and make good use of, I brought it before the Goffstown Lions Club board, and I'm very happy to say the board approved it unanimously, a donation toward the Lions, toward the library for all of this. I'm going to call up two people right now. First of all, Patty Pennick, incoming library director. Thank you. And I'm also calling up Goffstown Lions Club Treasurer David Pierce to present Patty with the donation.
Pat presented our club, like Ken said, a shopping list of like 12 items. So our job was really easy. We picked 4 of them. It's just shy of $2,000, and I'm sure it's money well spent for the library. Patty? This is yours. Please step in front of the mic. It's for the newspaper.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
We're excited to put this together.
Thank you. I don't know if anyone caught that. David almost walked away with the check. That's how we have so much money at the Lions Club. We announce donations, then we walk away with them, so we always have plenty of money. So, but thank you, David. Thank you, Patty. And keep us updated.
Was that the joke?
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that was the joke for tonight. Okay. Okay, anyone else for library trustee here? Okay. Phil Vanza is next on the list for planning board. Did I get that name close, Phil? Okay.
Believe me, 8 years on a board of selectmen, I get called everything.
Good evening. After that fantastic donation, I have to spend one moment and thank Diane Hathaway, the retiring library trustee for 27 years. I stopped by to see her this afternoon at the library, shared a piece of cake, and I had to remember that when she was hired, I was on the board of selectmen, so for what that's worth. But thank you very much, Diane, and thank you, Caroline and Patty, for all your work. My name is Phil D'Avanza. I'm running for Goffstown Planning Board, re-election. I lived in Goffstown for over 42 years and have 2 daughters who both graduated through the Goffstown schools and gone on to college, and I currently have a granddaughter attending high school here in Goffstown. Currently, I serve on the planning board and previously served 8 terms on the Board of Selectmen. I chair the Historic District Commission, and as we move into the future, I will strive to blend what is old and important to us in our community with the new growth and development taking place in order for Goffstown to continue to thrive. I strongly believe in giving back to our community. Goffstown is my home. It's where I operate my business. It's where my 2 daughters grew up and where my granddaughter is growing up. I plan to live in Goffstown for the rest of my life. Over the years, I have been honored and humbled by your support. On Tuesday, March 10th, I ask for your support that I may continue working to keep Goffstown an outstanding place to live, work, and raise a family. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Phil. Next up, Supervisor of the Checklist, Denise LeMay. Not here, okay. I thought she was here. Nope, okay. Next Supervisor of the Checklist, this is for 2 years, Sharon DeWitt.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sharon DeWitt. I don't have one of those jumbo magnifiers up here, so I'm going to have to rely on these trustee reading glasses. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you to the Lions Club and to the library for hosting. Goffstown has always been a part of who I am. I grew up here and graduated from Goffstown High School in 1987. While I was in high school, I was very involved in student council, cheerleading, peer outreach, National Honor Society. So being engaged in my community has really been a part of my life from the very beginning. After high school, I attended Fairfield University and I received a bachelor's degree in psychology. My father, who some of you may remember, Bill LaFave, served as a police officer in Goffstown for many years. I grew up watching what it meant to serve a community. To know your neighbors, to take responsibility seriously, and to show up when people need you. After college, I met my husband, and we made our home in Candia, where we raised our 2 children. One of my daughter is here tonight with my husband. During those years, I was active in the Candia Community's Women's Club and the PTO because I believe that being part of a town means being involved, not just living there, but contributing to it. Once our kids graduated from high school, we began thinking about our future. We were looking for a ranch-style home and hoping to find a place that would also work for my parents. And while that plan didn't unfold exactly as we expected, it brought us back to Goffstown. And now we've been here for just over 2 years. We've also been able to help my parents relocate here, so this has made that move especially meaningful for my family. Coming back to Goffstown as an adult has reminded me how important community really is. It can be hard to find your place when your children are grown and you're returning to a town you once lived in, but it also creates an opportunity to step forward in a new way. I believe in strongly giving back. I've started volunteering at the Community Clothing Center, and I've been looking for ways to become more involved in town government and civic life. I have the time, the interest, and the commitment to serve, and I want to use that time to do something that matters. I'm running for Supervisor of the Checklist for a 2-year term because I believe in fair, accurate, and accessible elections. This is a behind-the-scenes role, but it's an important one. It's about making sure that our voter rolls are maintained properly, that our residents are treated respectfully, and that our local elections are handled with care and integrity. Goffstown has shaped who I am, and I would be honored to give back by serving the town in this way. Thank you so much for your time and your consideration. And I'm just going to say, you'll see this on my signs, vote for me, just do it.
Thank you, Sharon. Next is Caron Monasky.
Good evening. Look at all you lovely people. My name is Caron Monasky, and I've lived in Goffstown for over 30 years. I raised my sons here, working as an occupational therapist, and it's been a very good life. I worked in jobs from Boston along the 93 corridor. And I rarely, and my mailing address is in Manchester because I live in Pinardville. I rarely went into the village. And as a result, after being retired, I really didn't feel connected to the town. But I've taken the opportunity to get out, meeting new people, enjoying conversations and events, as I've been searching for activities that would use my talents and develop new ones, giving back to our community. I stepped out last year and I ran for library trustee. I didn't get in. I learned a lot about our neighbors, my neighbors, by door knocking, meeting them, hearing them and their concerns, and also attending deliberative sessions. This was my 4th year so far, going to select board meetings, library meetings, school board meetings, budget meetings, and by helping at the polls. I've been doing that for the last 5 years. And this last year, I actually was able to help with the registration of new voters. And that got me thinking about why I wanted to run for supervisor of the checklist. I took civic classes in high school. Remember that civics class? That got me interested in making sure that I was going to be a good citizen. And when I turned 18 in my senior year, I was excited to be registered to vote. I was excited. And for my first vote, I read the literature, I watched the TV news, and I made a list of who I would vote for. Well, the supervisor of the checklist is all about keeping that voter list up to date and accurate. The supervisor of the checklist is about voter integrity. And it's a duty, I believe it's a duty of every American citizen to vote. It's about taking what many take for granted and using our vote to make our town and our country better. That's why I want to be one of the 3 supervisors of the checklist. There's only one up for this election. I have the time, I have the talent, and I have the passion, and I have the desire to give back to my town. I hope I've earned your vote. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Caron. Okay. Jennifer Sullivan is not here? Oh, okay. Next up for town moderator, somebody new, Rodney Stark is coming forward.
Well, thank you to the Lions Club, thank you to the library, and thank you to the high school. And I'm Rod Stark. And I don't think anybody else wants this job. As you can see, I don't have any opposition. I did years ago, but anyway. So I've been hearing, I like to come to these and hear about the people, the candidates. But what I haven't heard tonight is any candidate who claims to have been born in this town. All right, well, anyway, it happened to me down where the Ford garage is now. It used to be a hospital. And the town got a hold of it, and it ended up under the warrant to sell it or keep it. And so we ended up having a debate about it, and we voted on it. And wouldn't you know, it was a dead even tie to either sell or keep the Moore General Hospital. Well, wouldn't you know it, the only time a moderator can vote in a meeting is when his vote will break a tie. So it's a sorry story, but I tell it. But I'm the one that voted to sell the hospital I was born in. Anyway, I have, back in 1980, George Amo, who was then town clerk, called me up one day. He was involved with the party anyway, and he said, Lloyd Sorensen doesn't want to be moderator anymore, so we're thinking maybe you'd like to do that. So I put my name in, and I got elected, and now it's, if I get elected this time, at the end of this term, it'll be 48 years. So I don't get involved in politics. It's the only way you can do this job. What I do is I surround myself with qualified people who do all the work. I don't, town clerks, deputy moderators, all the poll workers, and there's a lot of people that you have to put together to run an election. And we have the great good fortune here in town of having a lot of very well qualified volunteers, and it's a long day, but they do it. So anyway, I gotta shut up. Like I say, I don't have any politics in this job. As a matter of fact, being apolitical in this job is the number one principle from as far as I'm concerned. So anyway, I enjoy doing it, and I hope you all come and vote at town meeting day.
Thank you, Rodney. For Trustee of Trust Funds, Fred Flett had emailed me. He could not be here this evening. Next is Zoning Board of Adjustment, Leonard Len Stuart.
I didn't prepare much. I did have a joke. Unfortunately, Rodney stole my line because I think the reason that I've been on the ZBA since 2008 is nobody else wants the damn job. The board is important in ways that I think a lot of people don't realize, particularly with the development pressures that the town is facing these days. There's a big need for housing, but unlike a lot of other towns, Goffstown has a very limited inventory of commercially developable land, mostly along 114, a little bit along the back road. Unfortunately, that's what also makes it most attractive to residential developers who want it, because it's got the water, it's got the sewer, it's got the site services that they don't have to install themselves. It's something that, in looking at the mission of the ZBA, I just think that we need to coordinate much better with our representatives in Concord. I think a lot of the legislation that went through the last session isn't going to help the housing situation a whole hell of a lot. But the other portion of the ZBA's function is somewhat being, I'm trying to think of a clean way to say it. You're a referee in neighborhood disputes a lot of the times. And you just have to remember that the way you make decisions on the ZBA is not, that guy's my buddy. It's not emotion. You need to do it on the clear evidence in front of you and the state law which regulates it very closely. So I'd like to think I've made good decisions. I'd like to continue for at least one more term, and, after that, there'll be a 0 in my next birthday, and I won't tell you which one, but I think at that point I might like to retire, so we'll see what happens with that. But for now, I'd like to serve another term. I hope I can get your vote for ZBA in the upcoming election. Thank you.
Okay, before we get to the school board, I need to go into something for the reason all of you are here. It's for the joke for this year. I know that's why I got invited back. And this is a little story about a minister and a politician die, and at the gates of heaven, St. Peter says, I'm going to show the both of you where you're going to live through eternity. First, the minister. Takes the minister to a very, very tiny house. They walk in, it's only one room, just a small bed, one chair, really nothing else in there. And the minister can't thank St. Peter enough. Like, wow, this is great. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. I really appreciate this. Now, the politician is thinking, boy, if this minister, this is all he gets, what am I going to get through eternity? Well, they go down the street a little ways, and they stop in front of a huge mansion with the gates outside, lots of new cars inside, servants waiting. They walk in. There's 9 bedrooms. There's 6 bathrooms. There's a kitchen with an entire kitchen staff and butlers and waiters and chefs. Politician is very confused. And he says to St. Peter, he says, I don't quite understand this. He says, the minister, he gets a tiny little room, and you're giving me this huge mansion. I don't understand. And St. Peter says, well, this is a big occasion. And the politician says, well, why? And St. Peter says, well, up here in heaven, we've had a lot of ministers come this way, but you're the first politician to ever make it this far. Okay. Always nice jokes. So anyway, but thank you. Okay. All right, first up, for school board, Daniel MacInnis.
First of all, hi kids. I know you're watching at home, or you better be. Good evening, folks. My name is Daniel MacInnis. My family and I have proudly called Goffstown home since 2019. I started coaching Parks and Rec basketball in 2021 because I wanted to invest in our kids. I joined the Parks and Rec Commission in 2024. And yes, I founded your Goffstown Ghostbusters because community matters to me. Showing up matters to me. And that is why I'm here tonight. Let me say this clearly. I respect everyone who steps forward to run for office. It takes courage. We do not all share the same vision for what success looks like. Success is building. For me, success is not maintaining the status quo. Success is building a town our kids want to come back to. Strong schools are not optional. They are not a luxury. They are the engine of a thriving community. When schools are strong, families stay, home values rise, businesses invest, civic life grows, the tax base strengthens. When schools are neglected, even slowly, even quietly, the opposite happens. Families leave, property values fall, tax rates climb just to maintain the basics, and a town that once led starts trying to catch up. I refuse to let this be Goffstown's story. If elected to the school board, I will advocate unapologetically for our students, for our educators, and for the taxpayers who make the classroom possible. Advocacy does not mean rubber stamping budgets. It means asking hard questions. Are we spending wisely? Are programs producing results? Are we preparing students for the world they're actually entering, not the one we grew up in? Because our responsibility is not just to balance numbers on a spreadsheet. Our responsibility is to prepare young people for adulthood, for careers, for citizenship, for leadership. I am not here to defend every decision that's been made, and I'm not here to tear down what's working. I'm here to raise the standards, to protect taxpayers, to strengthen our schools, and to ensure that 10 years from now, people look back at Goffstown and say, that's a community that chose to lead. This is about our children, our grandchildren, our neighbors. We can be fiscally responsible and forward-thinking at the same time. We don't have to choose. I'm asking for your support because I believe Goffstown's best days are ahead of us, but only if we make the right decisions now. Thank you for your time, and I would be honored to earn your vote.
I think someone took the list. That's a great way to win. Okay, we're done. Oh, okay. Next up is Donna Pinard. I'm taking this with me.
Good evening. My name is Donna Pinard. I am a lifelong resident of Goffstown, a graduate of Goffstown High School, and a retired teacher from SAU 19, and I'm running for the Goffstown School Board. I recently read an article where they said that 40% of homeowners in New Hampshire are mortgage-free. Are you one of those people? I am. I don't have a mortgage. I don't have any credit card debt. I don't have a car payment. However, my father always taught me that you always have a car payment. You're either paying a third party with interest, or you're paying yourself, because you have the car payment, so that you're paying cash for your next car. And it takes a while to be able to pay cash for that next car. When I was 16, I paid cash for my first car, and it sat in the driveway and waited for me for a whole month before I could drive it, because I didn't have my license yet. Because I started working when I was 14. See, being good with money means that you not only prepare for the inevitable, that you're going to need it, a new car or a used car eventually. It's not if, it's when. But you also have to be able to prepare for the fact that there are going to be some things coming down the pike that you have to have a little bit of visionary power to see. My first car was a 72 Pontiac Catalina, and it was appropriately an Army green because it was a tank, and I loved it. But coming down the pike, AI is going to do to public education what the automobile did to horse and buggy. And I've never had a horse. I always wanted one when I was a little girl, but I never had one. But I did have to prepare to have another vehicle. That was inevitable. And unfortunately, AI is inevitable. There's already a school in Texas where they begin their mornings for 2 hours with AI lessons, and then the rest of the day, they practice the principles that they learned from those AI lessons in the morning. So before we make any big budget decisions, it would be prudent to at least wait 5 years to see. Because I recently broke 2 ribs when I fell, and I went and my PCP told me, my doctor told me, that radiology AI in radiology is now reading X-rays with greater precision than human beings. He said it's not there yet for making diagnoses. You have to watch it because it's not correct yet. You still need somebody to oversee the diagnosis that the AI gives. But you wouldn't want your child going into radiology at this point. Someone needs to see that. The second most important thing is I was sitting in the back of this very room when a teacher came up here and said that stood next to Mr. McBride, because we always had faculty meetings in this room, and she said to everyone, I never let anyone know what my bias was. And I was back there saying, shut the front door. Because as a special ed teacher, sometimes you get assigned to other people's room because you have small groups. And I was assigned to her room for an entire semester, and she had a bulletin board with bumper stickers, and one of those bumper stickers said, Bush got the ring, meaning former President Bush and Lord of the Rings. And for those of you that don't know the story, the person who gets the ring is evil. So I went to Mr. McBride and I said, she said Bush has the ring. It's on her bulletin board. It's been there for decades. And Mr. McBride said, it's evil. And I laughed. And I said, well, there's plenty on our side that would agree with you. However, before she ever opened her mouth to teach, I knew what her bias was, and so did the students. Someone needs to keep administration accountable for that kind of indoctrination that's happening. I'm not afraid to speak up. If you want that kind of accountability and you want someone who can watch the money and knows how to handle it, vote for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Donna. Next up, Brian Templeton.
Howdy, y'all. Hello. My name is Brian Templeton, and I want to thank you all for being here this evening. My wife, Christine, and I have lived in Kennedy Hill Farm for over 10 years now. We love it here, and we're incredibly proud to call Goffstown our home. We care deeply about preserving our local farms and maintaining the rural character that makes our town and country so special. In the interest of time, I just want to speak to two areas that I'm especially passionate about when it comes to educating our children. Areas that I believe are essential to helping them stay healthy, happy, and able to thrive in today's rapidly changing world. I feel that it is essential that we place a renewed emphasis on teaching self-sufficiency, resilience, and personal responsibility in our schools. While special ed support services play a vital and necessary role for students with diagnosed learning differences and disabilities, we must also ensure that we are not unintentionally fostering dependency where independence can be developed. Education should empower students with the skills, confidence, and coping strategies needed to navigate challenges on their own. When students are equipped to manage setbacks, adapt to difficulty, and advocate for themselves appropriately, they build lifelong competencies that extend far beyond the classroom. By prioritizing critical thinking, skill development, high expectations, and structured support that gradually transitions responsibility to the student, schools can reduce unnecessary dependency while preserving essential services for those who truly require them. Our responsibility is not simply to support students, it is to prepare them to stand on their own. The impact that AI will have on our students' employment opportunities should not be underestimated. The reality is that over the next few years, it will eliminate many jobs. And while technology accelerates, our education system is moving at yesterday's pace. If machines can complete routine tasks faster, cheaper, and more efficiently than humans, then if we fail to adapt our education system now, if we fail to double down in our investments in both advanced technology skills and hands-on trades, we are not just risking unemployment, we are risking an entire generation being unprepared for the economy they are about to inherit. These are just two of the topics that I believe deserve immediate consideration. And if you'd like to hear more about my thoughts, or if you have concerns of your own about where our schools are headed, I encourage you to reach out. Please feel free to email me at briantempletonforschoolboard@gmail.com, or call me. If you go to Facebook and go to Brian Templeton for School Board on Facebook, my phone number is on there. Give me a call and let's talk. My wife will tell you, I love to talk. If you believe that we are aligned in our vision for our schools and our community, I respectfully ask for your vote on March 10th. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brian. Next up is Adam Barriere.
Good evening, everybody. And thank you, Brian, for not raising the microphone up. This works very well for me. Thank you, of course, to the Lions Club for having us tonight, in the library for putting together our library guide. That sort of ability to have this opportunity to speak to everyone is so important for this town. As you just heard, my name is Adam Barriere, and I'm running for a seat on the school board here in Goffstown. In 1979, my parents bought a small little house in Pinardville, and it's here that I was born and raised. I grew up in this town. I went to Goffstown schools. I played Goffstown Little League. I did the whole thing. In fact, I was one of the very first classes to go to Mountain View Middle School, back when 4th grade was at the middle school. And while I like to think that was only a few years ago, my two kids do like to remind me I did go to school in the 1900s. So this is my town, and 13 years ago, my wife and I chose to return to Goffstown in order to raise our kids here. I'm running for office in Goffstown because I believe in Goffstown. I'm running for school board in particular because I believe strong schools are the backbone of a strong community. I've dedicated my entire professional career to working in education as both a teacher and a high school administrator. I would like to now take my professional experience and put it to good use for the Goffstown school system. School boards have a fair amount of responsibilities, but they do largely concern themselves with policies and budgets. In my work, I've drafted and implemented policy, and I've created school budgets. I've been the guy presenting on budgets and policies to school boards. Now, I'm ready to look at these things from the other side of the table for the benefit of our community. Two things that I consider of the utmost importance in schools are safety and strong academics. School boards have a responsibility to ensure that budgets are mindful of the taxpayer's expense and reflective of what the schools are prioritizing and what they need to ensure their growth. We know our scores have been sitting right around the state average. I'm willing and able to collaborate with other board members, school administration, community members, all to ensure that our school budgets are working towards increasing our strong academics while respecting our money as taxpayers. And also working that our policies and practices are working towards that same goal of strong academic growth. School boards are important partners in ensuring that our schools are safe places for our children to learn. Having sat on emergency response teams, I've been trained by the Department of Homeland Security in how to prevent and respond to any number of school safety issues, ranging from peer bullying situations to threat assessments to violent intruders. I believe the board can benefit from my experience in having people like me on the board to deal with these issues. Unfortunately, I feel school board races have become overly partisan these past few years. I don't believe schools are the place for politics. We have to work together for the sake of our students and our community's future. I'm not striving for this position with any particular political agenda in mind. I want safe schools with strong academics, and I'm willing to work with any number of stakeholders to find the best means to ensure this. If you're looking for someone with a specific political agenda, you should probably vote for somebody else. But if you want a school board member who knows how schools run and has the best interest of the community in mind, if you want someone who's level-headed and collaborative, if you want an experienced voice on the board, then vote for me, Adam Barriere, for school board on March 10th. I'd be honored to receive your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam. Next up is Vanessa Hayes.
Thank you. Hi, I went long last year, so thanks for having me back. And I cut it down, so we're going to step on it here so we can get out on time. Yeah. Although I think if you go last, you should get an extra minute. I'm just saying. Consider it. Okay. All right. Hi, I'm Vanessa Hayes. I'm currently serving a 1-year term on the school board, but this year I'm running for a 3-year term. I work currently as an emerging talent training manager at a large third-party administrator, which is as exciting as it sounds. My expertise lies in building effective teams and empowering the next generation of leadership. And I also just really love workers' compensation. That wasn't a joke. Over the past year, I'm a mother of 3 boys in our district, which means I experience our schools not just from the board table, but also from the bus stop, the kitchen table during homework, and occasionally from the sidelines of sporting events. Over the past year, I've had the opportunity to meet so many more members of this community, parents, teachers, staff, more neighbors. And one thing has stood out to me. We care deeply about our schools. We may not always agree on everything, but that's actually a strength. Meeting new people and hearing different perspectives isn't something to fear. It's something to value. It makes our community stronger, smarter, and honestly more interesting. I truly believe we do better when we work together. The landscape of education is changing rapidly, from technology to student needs, to state requirements and funding. The world our kids are preparing for looks different than it did even 5 years ago. And if education is changing, our town has to be willing to evolve with it. We are lucky in so many ways. We have dedicated educators, engaged families, and students who are capable of incredible things. But being fortunate doesn't mean we stop striving. It means we build on what's working and stay open to new ideas and viewpoints instead of relying solely on old methods because that's the way we've always done it. Change isn't something to fear, change is opportunity. It's the chance to improve, to innovate, and to make sure every student in our district is prepared not just for today, but for tomorrow. I'm asking for your vote because I believe in this community. I believe in thoughtful collaboration, respectful conversation, and forward-thinking leadership. And I believe that's what we have when we listen to one another. Even when we disagree, we make better decisions for our kids, all of them. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about, our children, our schools, and our shared futures. Thank you to my husband, Sean, my boys, Benjamin, Joshua, and Nicholas, who wanted to hear their names on TV. Quick reminder, registration's open for Goffstown Junior Baseball, Goffstown Youth Softball League, spring sports at the schools, and Crispin's House 3-on-3 basketball tournament. Go out there, meet some new sideline friends, and vote for Vanessa on March 10th. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Vanessa. There was something very important I did forget to mention this evening. On the side of the room, there are snacks, cookies, and all kinds of good stuff. And for everyone you do not eat, that means David Pierce has to bring those home. And he'll blame you for his high sugar in the morning. So feel free to help yourselves over there. So before we wrap up for this evening, are there any other candidates here who did not get a chance to speak? Okay. I do want to thank all the candidates for being here this evening. As someone mentioned, it is not easy to come up and stand and talk in front of a group of people. So we do appreciate all of you being here this evening. Do not forget to vote. Oh, yeah. I'm getting to him. He's special. Do not forget to vote on March 10th. I also want to thank my grandson for keeping time, and for the first time I can remember that I've been doing this, Rodney Stark only spoke for 4 minutes. That was just amazing. Yeah, see? Rodney, seriously, thank you for all your years doing this. Appreciate it. So, yeah. Also want to thank the school for allowing us to have this space this evening, GTV, who was filming, and of course the library for all their assistance in making up that great pamphlet they have every year. So once again, thank all of you for being here this evening, and we will see you again next year. I do ask the candidates if they have time, and we do have some time with the room, if they'd like to stay. And if any of you have any questions, feel free to go up and speak to any of the candidates. Everyone have a good and safe evening, and thank you to the Lions Club. Have a good night.